Charlotte. He's been their third leading scorer in the playoffs. What a season he's had.
Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure. So the ball is out in the end zone. And it's Wheeler finds Claude from the logo. Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. He's down to
All right, welcome back, everyone, to our NFL Week 13 predictions. Last week, I went 9-4. I knew there were going to be a few upsets. I just didn't know which ones they were going to be. But I was right about the Ravens and Chargers game, so that was a big win for me. That brings me to 108-58 on the year, in second place still. So starting off, we have one of our most fun NFL weeks of the year. We have our Thanksgiving games, and then we have our Black Friday game. So starting off, we have the Bears and the Lions, Thanksgiving tradition. The Bears have lost 5 straight games to the Lions, and the Lions have lost 7 straight Thanksgiving games. So at some point, one of these streaks has to end. I'm definitely going to go with the Lions to win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the first half was a little bit low scoring because, 1, it's a divisional game, and 2, there is that kind of Thanksgiving curse that these teams have. But overall, the Lions are a much better team than the Bears, and they should be able to easily beat the Bears through the third and fourth quarter, and really the first half too. But divisional games are a little sticky sometimes, but I definitely have the Lions winning this one.
I'm going to be rolling with the best team in the NFC, also the Lions. I think that they're just a much better team than the Bears, and honestly, I don't think this will be very close.
No, I am also going with the Lions. I know that they have not fared well on Thanksgiving Day for decades. But this is a different Lions team. They're much better. They're better coached. They're more talented. And I think the Lions win this, and I don't think it's close. So I'm going to go with the Lions winning at home on Thanksgiving Day. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I went 8-5 and came in last place last week.
And I still went 9-4.
Yeah, and Jonathan went 9-4. Overall, I still have the lead at 113-53. So I got a few more weeks. I got to hang on. These guys are making a mad push to dethrone me. So we'll see what happens. I guess I got to be very careful with my picks.
All right, next up we have another divisional matchup. We have the Giants at the Cowboys. Who doesn't want to watch Danny DeVito against Cooper Rush on Thanksgiving Day? This is the game that you take your Thanksgiving nap during. I know DeVito is a little banged up. Whether he plays, whether Drew Lock plays, I don't think it really matters. The Cowboys are obviously not very good, but they were still able to beat Washington last week. They played pretty well last week, and I just don't see the Giants being able to overcome this Cowboys team, even with all their flaws. I still think the Cowboys win this one. The Cowboys have always had the Giants number, really the past almost decade now, so I'll just roll with the home team in this one.
Which hasn't won a game all year at home.
Have they really not won a game
They
all
They
year
have
at home?
not won a home game all year.
They're like 0-6.
This might be their first one. The way the Giants looked last week, I just cannot
Yeah.
pick them to win.
I'm with you.
Gonna agree with you again. I don't think this will be a close game whatsoever. I'm gonna roll the Cowboys.
I think it'll be a close game. The first time they played, it was a 5-point game. Both teams are bad. Cowboys haven't won a game at home yet this year, but at some point I think they have to. I'm not sure, but the Giants are really so bad. I don't think it matters who they put at quarterback. I don't think that's really their biggest problem. I think it's their coaching staff. So I'm picking the Cowboys, but I'm really nervous because they could really, really choke this on Thanksgiving Day.
I would definitely take the under for this game too. I just have
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
I-
And then we have our Sunday night game, which could be the most exciting game of the night. We have the resurging Dolphins with Tua, who are on a couple-game winning streak now, going into Green Bay against the Packers, who are one of the top teams in the NFC. Winning a couple ugly games the past few weeks. They looked pretty good against the 49ers last week. This is actually going to be my lock of the week.
Whoa.
A lot of people are picking the Dolphins to upset the Packers here. I do not see that happening. The Dolphins are like 0-12 in their last. Any game they play where the temperature is like 40 degrees or lower, they lose.
Do we know what the temperature is going to be that day?
It's going to be cold. I know it's going to be cold in Lambeau Field.
It's Green
All right.
Bay.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are a warm weather team. They are a true warm weather team. They do not play well in the cold. The Packers have a better defense than the Dolphins. They have a better O-line than the Dolphins. They have a better running game than the Dolphins. I really don't see how the Dolphins win this game. I think that they might have a couple of quarters that might be close, but I think the Dolphins are going to just have a hard time scoring against this Packers defense. I just think the Packers are all around a better team than the Dolphins. The Dolphins have been kind of beating up on a lot of bad defensive teams lately, and the Packers are not the same. I think the Packers win this one pretty handily. They had a similar game to this, I think either last year or the year before, I want to say. They had a very similar game to this, same setting, and the Packers took it to the Dolphins. I think it's a repeat of that.
I also picked the Packers, although I did debate about this one. I didn't debate very long, took me like 5 seconds to decide. I just think the Packers are a better team in general. And the Dolphins usually struggle against teams above 500. That's
true.
something they do, so I'm going to pick the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers also. They're at home. They're better than Miami. And the whole weather thing, if it's cold, which it usually is in Lambeau Field, it's going to be lights out for the Dolphins. So I'm going with the Packers to win at home on Thanksgiving Day.
All right, so that brings us to our Black Friday game. We have another divisional matchup. We have the Raiders at the Chiefs. The Raiders did beat the Chiefs last year with Aiden O'Connell, who we think might play. We're not 100% sure. I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I think it was actually Christmas Day that they beat the Chiefs on. The Chiefs have been winning a lot of games very closely. I was not impressed by their win over the Panthers. They should have won by a lot more than they did, and they won by 3 points. The Chiefs kind of look like they're just kind of coasting right now. They're not really playing that hard, it doesn't look like. Or maybe they are, and they're just not as good as they should be. Either way, there's still no chance I pick the Raiders to beat the Chiefs. If a miracle happens, then a miracle happens. But I'm not betting on a miracle to happen, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think the first half could be low scoring, but I think the Chiefs will pull away and win by at least like 14.
Chiefs in Arrowhead is like a death sentence, so I'm just going to take them.
Yeah, Kansas City's at home, so that means they're pretty good there. They'll have the officials on their side. I might as well jump on that bandwagon. Everybody else is. With that being said, I'm picking Kansas City. This game should not be close, but every game Kansas City seems to play this year is close. They should be able to handle it. I think they're coasting, and then they're going to get in the playoffs and just turn it on like they did last year.
It's funny how when the Patriots were winning everything, the Chiefs fans were complaining about the refs being on our side.
Yeah.
Well, how do you like it now, Chiefs fans? Now you guys are the new Patriots.
Yes,
So
they are. Everybody hates them.
I hope you enjoy this. So now we have the Colts and the Patriots. The Colts had a pretty rough week last week against the Lions, which most teams do have rough weeks against the Lions. And the
Yeah.
Patriots have a rough week every week. So the Colts have more talent on their team overall. I think they have an injury to Josh Downs. That could hurt them a little bit. You know what? I'm going to go with the Patriots for this one. I hate the Colts. And the Patriots and the Colts have a long history. I think we're due for another one. Drake May's been playing his heart out. I think he's due for another win. Let's give this one to Drake May here.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Anthony Richardson on this one. I'm going to pick the Colts, mostly to pick against you.
Doesn't matter. I'm picking the Colts because New England's not that good. Drake May has been playing very well, and I think he's going to be a very good NFL quarterback, but he's got nothing to help him. He's got no O-line, doesn't have a lot of talent at receivers, so I got to go with the Colts with this one.
Yeah.
Winning it on the road.
I do need to say one thing about the Patriots O-line. You guys need to get it together. Every game, Drake May gets strip sacked. Every game. That is not okay, especially with a rookie quarterback. You guys need to get it together. You guys are fat for a reason. You're not supposed to let
Right.
people through the O-line. I don't know. If you can't do your job as an NFL offensive lineman at that size, then you might as well just be on a riding cart at the supermarket like everybody else that's your
Yeah,
size.
that's right.
So get it together, block for Drake May,
Right.
and maybe we'll actually win some games.
Do a little blocking.
Yep. Were you going to say something or no?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
All right. My rant is over. All right, so moving on, we have, this should be a great game. Another divisional game.
This is going to be a
This
very
is gonna
good
be
game.
hopefully a good game. We have the Steelers at the Bengals. The Steelers are trying to hang on to the top of the NFC North, and the Bengals are just trying to find a miracle path into the wild card spot. Bengals are really desperate. They're coming off a bye week. I have been picking the Steelers pretty consistently throughout the year, and they have been cashing in for me. The Steelers have been winning a lot of these games. I'm going against my brain today. I'm picking with the Bengals. I'm going to pick this to be one of the upsets this week, and I'm just going to hope I'm right. I just have this feeling, I don't know why, the Steelers should really win this game. They have a much better defense. Their offense didn't have a great week last week, but I think it can bounce back this week. The Bengals are outmatched in this game. They really are. There's really no reason the Bengals should win this one. But every week an upset happens. Last week, I didn't even try to pick what the upset was going to be. This week, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go with the Bengals to win a little upset. I do have a hard time believing that the Steelers are going to lose back-to-back games. I'm like talking myself out of my own pick right now, actually. That's tough. I'm going to do it, though. I'm just going to go with the Bengals here. It's a dumb pick, but I'm going to go with the Bengals.
I thought about it, but then you picked them, so I'm just gonna go with the Steelers. Again, I'm trying to gain ground on you, and I really need to separate these matchups.
I'm going to go with the Steelers also, only because their defense is better. The Bengals' defense has been horrific all year long. But, with that being said, they could very easily win this game. And I know Pittsburgh's offense isn't great, but they're steady. So I think they'll be able to put up enough points to win this game because the Bengals won't be able to stop them. So I'm going to go with the Steelers winning this one over the Bengals, and I think it's going to be a great game.
The Cardinals at the Vikings. Cardinals coming off of a rough loss last week to the Seahawks, losing their first place lead in the NFC West. The Vikings, they're still riding the ship. They've been getting it kind of back into the right lane. The Vikings are at home. I'm going to take the Vikings for this one. They really just have a better roster than the Cardinals. Their defense is much better than the Cardinals' defense, and I think their offense is more consistent than the Cardinals' offense. So I'm going to go with the Vikings for this one. I think they're definitely the more complete team, and they're at home.
Yeah.
Cardinals disappointed me last week, so I'm gonna pick the Vikings because I also just think they're a better team.
No, I'm also taking the Vikings to win this one. The Cardinals are up and down. You can't really trust them. They win games you don't think they're going to. They lose games that they should be winning. You just don't ever know with them. So I am going to go with the Vikings, who have been pretty consistently winning most of the year. So Vikings with the W.
Now we have the Chargers at the Falcons. Falcons have really fallen apart the last few weeks. They are in serious trouble. The Chargers are coming off of a game that they wish they would have played better and scored a lot sooner against the Ravens. So both teams coming off of some disappointing losses. This is my second lock of the week. I'm picking the Chargers to win this game over the Falcons. The Chargers are just a much better team than the Falcons. I know that the spread is very close. The Chargers are only like a couple point favorites, whatever they are, but I think the Chargers definitely win this game. Their defense is leagues better than the Falcons' defense, and their offense is pretty good too. It's not explosive like the Ravens' offense, but their offense is pretty good, and the Falcons' defense is horrible. So I think the Chargers should have no problem winning this game. Their O-line is much better than the Falcons' O-line. All around, they're just a better team. The only thing that the Falcons have that's better than the Chargers is their run game, but I think the Chargers will still be able to pull this one off pretty easily.
I think the Chargers are going to blow them out here. I mean, we beat them by 32. Like, we beat the Falcons by 32.
Yeah.
So I just don't see the Falcons standing a chance in this game.
No, I don't either. I mean, the Chargers have really come a long ways. It was a kind of a heartbreaking loss. I picked them to win last week. The Falcons, as always, are a big disappointment. So the Chargers are much better coached, got a good defense, they got a good offense, and are well coached, so I have to go with the Chargers beating the Falcons.
All right, that brings us to another divisional game here. We have the Texans at the Jaguars. Texans are in a similar spot to the Falcons. They are grasping on to straws right now. They are lucky that they are in a really bad division, or else they wouldn't be in first place anymore. But they are, and they're playing against a really bad divisional opponent in the Jaguars. Jaguars, I'm not even sure if Trevor Lawrence is playing or not. He's questionable. I don't think it makes a difference in who wins this game.
I don't think so either.
No.
The Texans win this game. Did they lose a bad one to the Titans last week?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. But I don't think the Jaguars are a good team to compare the Titans to, because the Jaguars have a horrible defense and the Titans do have a good defense. They're just a bad team.
All right.
I don't think it's going to match up the same way. I think the Texans will be able to control this game, and if Trevor Lawrence plays, it might be a little closer than if Mac Jones plays. But either way, the Texans win this one, I think, pretty easily.
I don't have much to say other than what you just said. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Texans.
Yeah, this one doesn't deserve a lot of chit-chat about. Jacksonville's really, really bad. I think they're fighting for the first draft pick
They are.
with the Giants.
Yes, they are.
And Raiders.
And Raiders. So that's going to be a probably closer matchup to watch. Who's going to get the number one draft pick? I am going to take the Texans to get the W here.
All right, so now we have Seahawks at the Jets. The Jets are the disaster that they are, and the Seahawks are building a little momentum here. They're putting together some wins. They are in first place now in the division. This is a big game for the Seahawks because this can help them extend their wins, really, and this helps keep them on top of a very narrow lead in the division. The Jets, they're not putting up a fight anymore, obviously, and the Seahawks should win this game. I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I just don't expect the Jets to really try very hard, at least past the first quarter. They're already moved on to next year. They really have. So this is the Seahawks' game to lose. They need to win this one and prove that they belong in first place in the division.
Yep, Seahawks it is. And I would just like to say, at the beginning of the year, we all did call that the Jets would be awful and
Yes, we
would not
did.
make the playoffs.
Yep.
Not many people were doing that.
No.
They were saying they were Super
Most
Bowl.
of them had them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I had some very choice words about Aaron Rodgers to start the year, and
Yeah.
they weren't. Now come to find out, they weren't even choice enough. They could have been worse than they were.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Seahawks it is.
Seahawks. I am also going to pick the Seahawks. I don't know anybody at this point who would pick the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has been a total disaster. I mean, if you look at him at 40, what he's done for the Jets compared to what Tom Brady did when he went to Tampa Bay, he won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has got half the coaching staff fired. And his stats are about the same as Zach Wilson's last year at this point.
They're worse.
Or worse. So, poor Jets. I mean, I'm really starting to feel bad for their fan base because this whole organization is so dysfunctional. They didn't learn anything from Brett Favre, and man, they're just bad.
All right, now we have Titans at Commanders. Washington needs to be careful. They're another team. They're
Yep.
in the same situation as the Texans and the Falcons, except they're not in first place in their division anymore. If they want to make the playoffs, they need to start winning some games against some bad teams. And last week they got embarrassed by the Cowboys of all teams,
I know.
a divisional opponent, a team that was having a hard time scoring touchdowns, and then Cooper Rush made their defense look atrocious. So now they're playing against the Titans, who have a good defense. I'm almost concerned that the Commanders and Titans game this week could be very similar to the Texans and Titans game from last week. That defense could
Could be.
play very similar to the Commanders. However, I am not going to pick the Titans because
Yeah.
they don't win very often as it is. I'm still going to go with Washington. They really need to win this game. This is the team they need to beat to get back on the right track. So I'm going to go with Washington, but I could see this being a very low-scoring game, at least in the first half, and they need to be careful with those turnovers.
I also think this might be a very close game, but I cannot get myself to pick the Titans against really anyone.
I am also going to pick Washington. They've been disappointing lately, They started off good, 7-2. They haven't really beaten any really good teams, and now they're losing to bad teams.
We have the Buccaneers at the Panthers, and we have a lot of divisional games this week.
Yes,
All
a
right,
lot.
Panthers. I have to give credit to Bryce Young. He played very well
He
last
did.
week against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have a good defense too. And he played very well. He actually kind of outplayed Mahomes for most of the game. He played very well. He's been playing a lot better since he's come back from his benching after his little timeout in the corner there.
Yep.
The Buccaneers played very well last week with Mike Evans back in the lineup. That was nice to see. Good for them. I'm picking the Buccaneers to win this one on the road. They are the better team. They really are the better
They
team. And
Yeah.
I think they're going to be too much for the Panthers to handle. But the Panthers might put up a good fight for the first quarter. Who knows? But I do expect the Buccaneers to win this one.
I'm going to roll with the Buccaneers on the road because it's still the Panthers, and they're still
Right.
bad.
They're still not a good team, and I think Tampa Bay's kind of looking to turn things around a little bit. They had a rough stretch, a lot of injuries, so I'm going to take Tampa Bay, obviously.
Used to be a rivalry game here. We have the Rams at the Saints. You guys all know about that back in the NFC Championship
Yep.
a few years ago. Rams are on the road coming off of a very embarrassing loss to the Eagles. Shout out to Saquon Barkley for pretty much carrying my fantasy team to first place this year. We have a matchup here, Rams and Saints. The Rams have been hot and cold, and the Saints have been mostly cold with a few hot flashes here and there. The Rams, I think the Rams are a slightly better team than the Saints. They've been more consistently better on offense at least, and I think they win this one. I think they are just a little bit of a better team than the Saints all around. Stafford's a better quarterback than Derek Carr. They have more weapons. Cooper Kupp and Nakua have been playing well.
Yeah,
but
they've been playing good.
That Eagles defense is much better than that Saints defense. So
Yes.
the Rams should be able to win this one.
I think this is another one of the blowout games for the Rams. Maybe not blowout, but
Be careful with this one.
maybe not blowout.
You never know.
But I'm going to say at least 2 possessions, like 10, 14 points for the Rams. They just have a better team in general.
I am also going with the Rams to win this one. They got more weapons, better team, and Saints are just disappointing.
All right, now we can talk about the Eagles and the Eagles here. We have the Eagles at the Ravens. This is my game of the week right here. Eagles at the
Yes.
Ravens. This is a fantastic week. Yeah, it's one thing to just look at the stats of Saquon Barkley and be amazed, and that is pretty crazy. Over 300 total yards last week, 2 touchdowns. But then I watched the whole game. If you watch him play this year, he is the best guy on the field in almost every game he plays, if not every
Yes.
game. He is playing like extremely well. You can't tackle him. He is just moving at a different pace than everybody. He's running hard. I have not seen a running back play this type of season in a long time. Like, we've had a lot of good years with a lot of good running backs, but he's reminding me of some of those seasons of like Adrian Peterson almost. He is having that kind of year. He's just breaking off these 70, 75-yard touchdown runs. You don't see that every season consistently from a running
you do
back like
not.
this. He is playing with a vengeance, and he is making the Giants front office look like complete clowns. Complete clowns.
That they are.
So now we have a tough matchup because we have the Ravens, who are a very good team themselves. This is a tough one for me to pick here. I'll give you
That
my
is a tough
analysis. Yeah, I'll give you my analysis here. I give the defensive edge to the Eagles. Their defense has been playing lights out for the last good 6-7 weeks. They've been on a big winning streak, and I think a lot of that is due to their defense. So I give them the edge. The Ravens' defense is not as good as the Eagles' defense. Really, I don't think it's that close, actually.
No, I don't think it is either.
Derrick Henry's been having a really good year as well, but it's not the same level as Saquon, so I'll give them the edge for the run game. As far as quarterback play, I give it to Lamar. He's having a great year.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts has been careful with the football. He hasn't been turning it over like he used to, so that's good. But Lamar's been playing just a different kind of football than Jalen Hurts. O-line, actually. O-line, I think I give the edge to the Eagles' O-line as well. Their O-line has been playing really well the last few weeks, which is kind of helping Saquon and giving Hurts more time. It kind of all ties into it. I'm going with the Ravens for this one. I'm not really confident in my pick here, but the Ravens play really well at home. They play really well at home. Not to say that the Eagles play bad on the road, because they don't play bad on the road, but something about the Ravens in Baltimore, I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that the Ravens are going to take this one. I think the Eagles could certainly win this, but something in my gut's just saying pick the Ravens in Baltimore this week, so I'm going to follow my gut down here. Go ahead.
As I need to pick against you some more, so I'll just take the Eagles. I think they're going to win anyways.
I am picking the Eagles to win this one because their defense, I think, is a little better. I think they'll be able to contain the Baltimore offense. And the Baltimore defense gives up big chunk plays. So I think Barkley will be able to run wild on them.
Hopefully.
And, Hurts has been not bad because he's got help at the running game, but he's got a couple good receivers too that are really good. So he's got some I think he's got more weapons than Baltimore has, and a better defense. So I'm going with the Eagles, but I'm telling you right now, I don't know.
We have the 49ers at the Bills in Buffalo. The 49ers are just having a bad year. They're injured. They're done. They're packing it in for the season. Now they have to go into Buffalo, and we got some snow here in New York. In Buffalo, they even have a lot more snow right next to that lake there. So Bills are in their conditions. They're in their cold weather, their snow. They love it there. The 49ers do not like the snow. They're from the West Coast. They like 65, 70 degrees and a slight breeze. So they're not going to enjoy playing in this snow. And they're really not as good as the Bills as it is. So
No, they're not.
Bills, I think the Bills blow them out here. I think James Cook has a big game, and I think the Bills just blow them out.
Agreed. In 49ers, injured, playing on the road in Buffalo. Just don't see them putting up a fight against the Bills. Just look pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, the Bills are going to be, I think they're predicting a snowstorm, some lake effect snow
Yep.
for Sunday. They could very well make a mess out of that field. But Frisco's beat up, so I don't, you don't even know who's playing for them half the time because everybody's on the injured list.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo wins this game. I think they should win it pretty easily, especially if it snows during the game. I'm picking the Bills to win this one.
There's nothing worse than driving down the road, it's snowing out, and you see some license plate from some state that doesn't get any snow. These people, they don't know how to drive in the snow. They don't know how to play football in the snow. It's horrible. They go like 5 miles per hour, and
Yep.
it's just a few flurries out there. So who knows what they're going to do when they get a few feet. But, yeah, we like the snow for the most part here in New York.
We do.
We do. All right, next up we have our Monday night game now.
Monday night.
We have we have Jameis Winston and the Browns. Jameis Winston has single-handedly made this Browns team entertaining to
Yes,
watch.
he has.
Basically.
And they're going into Denver against the Broncos, against the Pepsi Zero Rookie of the Week,
Bo Nix. Pepsi Zero.
Pepsi Zero. Not the Coke Zero, but the Pepsi Zero.
Well, that's good because that's better than Coke.
So I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think the Broncos easily win this one. Their defense will shut down the Browns' offense, and I think they'll control the game start to finish. It might be low scoring in the first half, but I think the Broncos will have another good week, and I think they'll add to their winning record here.
Back to my usual antics, I'm going to pick the Browns. I really don't know who's going to win this game. We like to blow games like this, so. But I'm going to pick the Browns.
You're picking
Because,
the Browns.
Really?
You know the drill.
Yes, we
I
know the
don't-
drill.
I know, but there's a reason you're in last place here.
Yeah, a little bit actually.
little
It is
bit.
kind of the reason.
That's not a good. All right, go ahead.
It's a bad pick,
Yeah, it
but
is a bad pick.
I'm going to pick them.
I'm going to go with the Broncos because I think they're a much better team. Jameson Winston has made them better. I mean, a little more competitive. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the Broncos defense. Bo Nix keeps putting up numbers like he has been, then, yeah, this game might not even be close.
Hopefully not.
Could.
Oh, it looks like the Broncos made a good pick picking Bo Nix.
Yep,
I
I think
should.
so.
I think he's going to have a nice long career, being the second best quarterback of his draft class, right behind Drake May, and should be a good rivalry for years to come. He can be like the Peyton Manning. Drake May will be like the Tom Brady. He'll win most of the matchups. I'm sure when they finally play each other, Drake May will show them how it's done. But
Wasn't it like the AFC Championship, last time Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played against each other? How'd that go?
you mean Peyton Manning's like third AFC Championship win compared to Tom Brady's 10th?
But it was the last time.
It was the last time.
And it was in Denver.
Right, Brady played.
We're talking about Denver here.
Brady played like 5 more years after that and
We're
won 2 more
talking
Super Bowls.
Talking like Denver. We're talking Denver here.
You picked the Browns to win. I don't even know.
Right.
Because
you're
I
talking
pick
about here.
against the Broncos. It's
All
how
right,
it goes.
well, let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time.